I'd like to call to order our monthly South Hill Town Council regular meeting. There is an addition to the agenda in regards to the closed session. There's an addition. We already had in motion a legal matter involving real estate. There will also be a personnel matter involving the FLSA. Shall we pray? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, as we assemble here tonight, let us be mindful of the many blessings that we have. And dear Lord, be with us, be with our country, be with our town, be with our state, because of the many challenges that we're facing, whether it's wildfires, whether it's the virus, whether it's floods or whatever, dear Lord. Lay your healing hands upon each and every one of us. Be with us as we go forward. Do it in thy name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Roll call, Anna.
Alex Graham.
Here.
Gavin Honeycutt.
Present.
Dolores Luster.
Here.
Mike Moody. Shep Moss.
Here.
Ben Taylor.
Here.
Joseph Taylor.
Here.
Lily Fagan-Spoon is absent. Stuart Bowen.
Here.
Kim Callis.
Here.
Sheila Cuttrell.
Here.
CJ Dean.
Here.
David Hash.
Here.
Carol Hutchinson.
Here.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Council, you had the opportunity to look at the minutes from our July meeting. Is there a motion for acceptance?
Yes, sir. I make a motion that we approve the minutes from our July meeting. It is August, yes.
Is discussion.
Yeah, I just had a correction.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mayor, in reference to the TACS tax litigation, I think it, and this is just before subsection B, as he has been engaged in litigation cases involving tax at TACS, it should be TACS, thus to identify the company we were actually focused on. So if we could make that correction, just so it's clear as to why I abstained. Thank you.
Okay. Anna, you have what you need there?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Citizens to address council. Okay, all right. Public hearing.
Mark, is this on? Can you hear okay? Can you hear this okay? Okay. Mr. Mayor, members of council, we have 3 public hearings for you tonight. The first has to do with our general obligation bond series 2021, and we published a notice of public hearing on July 21 and 28 in the Enterprise to inform interested parties that we'll hear comments on the issuance of this general obligation bond. And the principal amount of the bond is $10,937,000. And the purpose of the bond includes, but it's not limited to, paying for the cost of certain water, wastewater, and infrastructure improvements, including the Thompson Street Alpine Road water line, the Northeast Sewer Collection System, the Highway 1 North Sewer Extension, Alpine Road pump station improvements, replacement of touch read water meter systems with a radio read system, rehab of sewer lines in the Taylor Creek pump station service area, and replacement of our rotors at the town's wastewater treatment plant in the ditches there, and construction of a new public works building and other infrastructure. And we'll also be refinancing the town's 2010 $1,995,000 water, wastewater, and storm facilities refunding series, and plus the administrative cost. And the interest rate on it is fixed for 10 years at 1.45%. And I want to thank Sheila Cutrell and CJ Dean, because they have done a tremendous amount of work at trying to put together this package, along with our engineering consultants, B&B. So thanks to you all for all the work that you have done on that. And at this time, I would like to open the public hearing for any questions or comments. Seeing that there are none, we will close the public hearing, and there is a recommended motion in your package.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, Anna?
Bacon Spoon is absent. Graham,
Yes.
Honeycutt,
Yes.
Luster,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Ben Taylor,
Yes.
and Joseph Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you. And in case you see some of us out of pocket tomorrow, we will have about 14 documents related to this thing that we will be working on tomorrow to finalize. Thank you.
For the next public hearing, a notice of public hearing was published in the July 28th and August 4th, 2021 editions of the South Hill Enterprise to inform interested parties that council will hear comments on a proposed amendment to section 78-2, collection of delinquent town taxes of the code of the town of South Hill, to allow for the imposition of administrative cost and collection agency or attorney's fees to be added to delinquent bills. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, and there is a recommended motion in your packet.
Move to adopt as presented.
Second.
Second. Discussion.
Any discussion?
What was this gonna cost? Was that in there what the recommended cost was gonna be from these agencies that we're gonna collect?
It all depends on who we end up going with. If we go with TACS, which was my recommendation, there's no cost to the town unless we use them to facilitate a real estate sale. And that's not what our intention is.
So they do this totally for free?
Well, no, they don't do it for free, but they do it for the 20% admin fee, administrative cost that gets added to the taxpayer's bill.
And again, I haven't seen this in a number of years. I know we discussed this last month, about putting the names in the newspaper like what we've done before. And I think that has worked at times. I think, the embarrassment part, to see your name affiliated in the paper with delinquent taxes and so forth. What was the total amount we have due right now for?
137, I think.
Was it how much?
I thought it was around 137,000.
It was at least that much. I want to say it was 120 something, but I'm not certain. I know there were over 1,200 personal property accounts and I think over 170 real estate accounts. or maybe it was 70 real estate accounts. Don't quote me on that.
I thought Councilman Moody and myself talked about bidding this out. And correct me if I'm wrong, the way I'm reading this does not include any kind of bid process. Because his, I think, reviews that he found were not very stellar on this one company.
And that review that he mentioned, the 1 in 5 star review, was based on one review, is what that was based on. I have done some research. I mean, this tonight has nothing to do with bidding it out. I mean, this is strictly to change our
the
code section for wording. I told Mr. Moody earlier this evening, he and I talked about it, and I have found only one business in the whole town of South Hill that is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. I don't know that that is really something that we need to be looking at. I did look at a list of businesses that are accredited, that are collection agencies, and the first one on the list has a 1 in 5 star rating that is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. And they've had 59 complaints or 58 complaints in the last 3 years. TACS has had 10 in the last 3 years. Their specialty is governments. That is all they do collections for. So they're familiar with transient occupancy taxes and meals taxes, real estate, personal property. That is their specialty. And they do provide services for over 70 local governments in the state of Virginia. But I mean, that's completely up to council. If you all want us to bid it out, we can. We can put out an RFP for that.
So you mentioned that I know we do have a collections company in the corporate limits of this town, and you said they were accredited.
No.
They're not
No,
accredited.
I have found only one business in the whole town of South Hill that's accredited, and it's not a collection agency.
Okay.
And along with, Sheila and I talked about this earlier, in general, tax collection agencies don't usually get high ratings.
No, because they
Nature
are
of the
disgruntled
game.
taxpayers.
But after talking with her, this is not saying that we're going with this particular company, but I would rely on her expertise. The finance department is to coming up with the best one that would best serve the town of South Hill and the citizens.
That's all I have.
Okay. Did we have a motion and a second? Okay. Any other further discussion? Roll call, Anna?
Fagan is absent. Graham,
Yes.
Honeycutt,
Yes.
Luster,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Ben Taylor.
Yes.
And Joseph Taylor.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, we have a request tonight by Biddy Freeman to rezone the property between Plank Road and Halifax Street from R110 to R216. I'd like to open the public hearing for comment. Don't see we have none. All right, we're going to close the public hearing. The planning commission recommended approval.
I make a recommendation, I'll make a motion that we accept this request to change the Plank Road and Halifax Street from R110 to R2-16.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Taylor. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of council, we have several items for you tonight. As we do each year, we will present the governor-approved 2022 Commonwealth of Virginia holiday calendar, which is in your packet, and he granted additional time off on Wednesday, November 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving, to close at noon, and on Friday, December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve. Additionally, I'd like to request that the regularly scheduled October 10th meeting be rescheduled to Tuesday, October 11th, in recognition of Columbus and Yorktown Victory Day.
I move to reschedule October 10, 22, council meeting to Tuesday, October 11th, 2022, in observance of the Columbus Day holiday.
July, so we just asked them to come and stand up and be recognized so that you can see who the new officers are. Thank y'all for being here. Very much. And a couple of big things coming up for the fire department. Chief Vaughn submitted a request for permission to hold the annual Bucket Drive fundraiser on Saturday, September 4th at 6 locations throughout town. They'd like to add a location this year, but the 5 traditional ones are North Mecklenburg Avenue, East Atlantic Street, West Atlantic Street, West Danville Street, Shaw Street at Walmart, and the new location is near the Peoples Street, First Street intersection at the slip-in.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you. The next has to do with selling and replacing a major piece of equipment. And over the years, town staff has worked the fire department staff on replacing fire engines and equipment. And with the exception of the ladder truck, which the town borrows the money for, the fire department issues the loans in the fire department's name, and they pay for the debt service with a town contribution and a county contribution. And that's the way we've historically worked it, and the local banks are always asked to submit financing proposal. We try to do the financing locally whenever we can. When the loans get paid off, the equipment or the engines or the vehicles are then titled to the town, and we make every effort to make sure we have no more than one loan outstanding at any given time. And vehicles that are to be replaced have been sold via sealed bids, and the proceeds have been used to pay off existing debt so we can enter into a new loan. And that has worked really well over the years. Fire departments from all over the country have bid on and ended up purchasing our equipment because they do such a great job of maintaining it, and people are really excited to get these engines and pumpers and ladder trucks and other things that have been sold. So now the fire department, town staff are working to replace the 2005 model Support 70 equipment that's becoming obsolete, and they want to replace it with a new support vehicle in October of 2022. The new support vehicle will provide greater support capability in several ways, including on-site air compressors and better extrication equipment. And the fire department wishes to sell its current Support 70 with the proceeds used to help pay off the existing debt service on Engine 73. That's the loan that's outstanding right now, and they'd like to pay that off in July of 2022. And then in October of 22, with the backing of the town's full faith and credit, which is required by the banks, the fire department would then issue a new loan for approximately $1.1 million, and this is their first loan for over $1 million. So that's really exciting, and it's a big thing. But they would issue a new loan for the new support vehicle. And doing it this way will allow us to continue a very successful practice that's been in place between the town and the fire department for many, many years, to only have one loan outstanding at a time. And the fire department has information that existing prices are going to be going up pretty soon, as much as 4 to 5% on September 1. So it'd like to begin its purchase process, which is expected to take more than a year before that September 1 date. So we are asking for a motion to go ahead and sell Support 70 via sealed bids so that we can get this process moving.
So moved.
I have a question.
I've made a motion, and a second in the discussion.
Okay, any discussion?
I just had a question. I suppose I'm trying to get the thing right. Okay, what happens if we sell the Support 70 by what time? I mean, will we be without?
They
A
have made,
vehicle to do that?
they have made arrangements so that we will have support. The Support 70 goes on every call, every fire
Okay.
call. The fire department has made arrangements to have that task covered. In the interim, if Support 70 sells before we get the new one, and it will,
Okay, that's
they've
what I
got
was-
coverage during that time.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question too. I see that the new loan will be 1.1 million. Do we have an approximate cost of what the truck will actually cost? Because that 1.1 is going to include, does that include refinancing? Or they're paying off the current
This
debt?
is just a new loan.
It'll be a new loan.
We'll borrow
Okay.
1.1 million, and that will pay for what the fire department is
Gotcha.
asking to pay for.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
All right, thank you. Okay, the next item has to do with amendments to the town charter and the town code. The General Assembly passed legislation requiring that all local elections be held in November. Our charter states that the elections will be in May. Any charter change has to be approved by the General Assembly. And we're recommending that we also amend the code to include language that makes it clear that for the November elections, people will take place the following January. Because state law overrides what's in our code, we don't absolutely have to do this, but it makes sense to do it so that if somebody goes to our town code, they don't misunderstand that we have a May election instead of November. So we are recommending that we make these changes, and we need to have a public hearing to do so.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to hold a public hearing at the September 13, 2021 Town Council meeting to provide public information and hear comments regarding amendments to the town charter as described by our town manager and code related to new election dates.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, Anna?
Bacon Spoon is absent. Graham,
Yes.
Honeycutt,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Moody, Moss,
Yes.
Ben Taylor, and Joseph Taylor.
Thank you. We were recently surprised by VDOT reaching out to us with respect to the Highway 58 bypass arterial project. Back in 2019, VDOT came to us with a program to improve that entire corridor, beginning with the Country Lane intersection, the highway, or the Interstate 85 interchange, and down to the town limits on the east end. And the original estimated cost of that project ranged from just under $16 million to almost $37.5 million. And the reason for the difference in the price range depended on the type of improvement they wanted to make, whether it was roundabouts or diverging diamond interchange and some other things. It was primarily due to the interstate interchange for the big difference in the cost. At that time, they told us work was not expected to begin until fiscal year 25 or 26, and the work would get moved up the ladder depending on the town's commitment. So we agreed at that time that we could spend up to $3 million for this, which was approximately 10% of the cost. The more money you contribute, the better your chances are of getting it accelerated. Well, on July 26th, VDOT reached out, and they're now ready to move forward with the first phase of that project, which is the improvements at the intersection of East Atlantic Street and Country Lane. And that cost was estimated to be a little over $3 million back in June of 2019. It has now increased to $5,757,611, of which they're asking for the town to contribute 10%, $575,761. So we met with the Budget and Finance Committee on July 27th to discuss this. And as the cost of this project is just going to continue to escalate, and we have the ability to pay the town share now, the committee recommends proceeding with the project. As of right now, we don't need to appropriate that money because we've got all kinds of documentation and paperwork and agreements that we have to work through with VDOT. But what they're asking for is our agreement to move forward.
Do we know what that project is gonna be? I remember being in meetings, because obviously that was before I was on council, and I know you held up big diagrams of a roundabout or other options. Have they said what this project's gonna be?
This project was pretty straightforward. This only involves that intersection. And so it will change the alignment of the intersection. You will no longer be able to go, if you're on Atlantic Street approaching the bypass, you will have to do a right turn and then do a U-turn at an R-cut to come back to go to Cracker Barrel or Country Lane. That is the most significant change. The others are just changing the pattern of lights and that sort of thing, but there will be no more straight across from Atlantic Street to Country Lane. Mr. Moody.
Part of the main cost, in addition to the turning right, where you would have to go down maybe 75 to 100 yards to make a U-turn and come back, part of it is cutting down the hump.
Right.
It's the excavation of all the land and the rock and everything that's under the pavement. That's a lot of the cost is right there, is what we were told at the public.
Yeah. And that's the first phase. The second phase would be the east end, which would be the roundabout at the town limits. The third phase, which is by far the most complicated and most expensive, is going to be the interstate interchange, and that would come last.
You might want to tell them about, even though we may do this now, then they won't start studying it until 22. I don't know if you said that or not. Until 2022, before they.
Oh, they told us it's going to be several months before they do anything. We've got to get through all the VDOT administrivia before they will move one shovel.
But basically, this is saying that the town of South Hill still wants to follow through with the project, and that the town of South Hill is willing to pay their share at the appropriate time toward the whole cost.
Yes,
For this phase one only.
this is phase one.
And for clarity of the minutes, can we add to this meeting the exact description of what phase one is, so we have it on record?
Well, in the minutes, we have the email here from VDOT, which lays out by project number what it is. But we can add to, we can lay it out however you like,
I
but
just
it
think
is
there's a clear
the,
description of the project.
Because when I read it, I didn't know,
yeah, it's the East Atlantic Street Country Lane intersection.
I only know a little bit because
Yeah.
I attended those meetings, but
I can get the page out of that arterial plan and give it to Anna to put in the minutes. I'll be glad to do that.
So there's no misunderstanding down the road.
Yeah, but this is just that phase, East Atlantic Street Country Lane intersection.
Mr. Mayor, at this time, I would move to approve proceeding with the first phase of VDOT Highway 58 arterial project at the intersection of East Atlantic Street and Country Lane at a cost of $575,761. And I'd also move to authorize the town manager to execute the related documents with the appropriate parties.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
In fiscal year 2020-2021, the town received Federal CARES Act funds in the amount of $59,130 to assist with municipal utility customer relief for all eligible customers of the town of South Hill. At the close of fiscal year 2020-2021, we had funds remaining in the amount of $26,709.51. As the appropriation technically lapsed with the close of the fiscal year. The remaining funds need to be appropriated in the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. In addition, the town also received funds from the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services in the amount of $13,448 for the purposes of attracting and retaining the most qualified local police department sworn personnel and support the cost associated with criminal justice reform. At the close of fiscal year 2020-2021, we had funds remaining in the amount of $1,864.05. As the appropriation also technically lapsed with the close of the fiscal year, the remaining funds need to be appropriated in the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. I ask that you appropriate the remaining grant funds for the stated purposes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, next item. The American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, established the Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Fund and Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, or CLFRF, which will provide a total of $4,512,160 to the town of South Hill. The town received the first round of funding in the amount of $2,256,080, which is 1/2 of the total, on June 30th, 2021. We expect to receive the remaining funds in June of next year. In order to amend our budget to appropriate these funds, we will need to hold a public hearing. The Budget and Finance Committee has agreed, when we met on July 27th, to use $1.4 million of these funds to assist with the cost of the Northeast Sewer Project. As you know, the bids came in higher than what we had anticipated, and we did not include enough funding in our bond issue to cover all of that. And then we're also looking at additional water infrastructure projects, one of which is needed to provide redundancy in the water supply to use the rest of the funds, or at least as part of it. Investment in critical infrastructure is particularly well suited for the use of ARPA funds because it is a necessary and a non-recurring expenditure that will provide benefits over many years. So I'd like to ask for a motion to hold a public hearing at the September 13th, 2021 regular meeting of the Town Council to hear comments regarding the proposed budget amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Ms. Cottrell, one question. I'm sorry. I know at one of the previous meetings, we had some discussion on collecting the past due water bills, and I know we did the assistance program. Have people been able to catch up on that at all? Have we been able to?
Some have, some have not. We have actively been calling customers who have delinquent balances. We had originally thought that we were going to start cutting water off again in September. We're not sure that's going to happen.
Sure.
There's language before the General Assembly now to extend that.
Gotcha.
But we have been calling people and letting them know, what our intentions were, what we were thinking about, and offering them the assistance. Some apply, some don't, some qualify, some don't. And we do have some customers that have not paid anything on their bills since last spring.
Is that something we may have to look into, a collection agent like the property taxes?
We may at some point, especially if they have moved to another residence.
Sure.
But if they are still, if their account is still active, when we can turn water off again, we will. And then they'll have to pay the entire balance before the water will be turned back on.
I was just curious, we were talking about water.
And Sheila and her team deserve a lot of kudos because they have made a lot of phone calls and they spend time on the phone helping people try to get through this application. It's very time consuming and it's also frustrating because there's money there to pay the bills and people are not.
They won't apply.
Right. And they do have to apply and
Yeah.
certify
We
or
can't
attest
take
to
the
the
money and
fact
apply.
that their household income has been negatively affected by COVID-19.
And if I understand that correctly, the renter has to apply and the landlord, is that right? Or
No,
just the renter?
just whoever's name the
Just
account
the
is
renter.
in, just the account name.
Oh, I
person
got you.
who's the
May not be
customer.
the renter.
Right, the customer,
I'm with
whoever
you.
the account's name is in. But we've been trying to get people to apply for it. With what we have right now, we have additional applications. We have asked people, initially, let me back up. Initially, they had told us we could only make one payment to any person's account. Then they came back and said, no, you can make multiple payments to the account, but they have to reapply. So we have been reaching back out to those customers who applied back last fall and asking them to submit a new application.
Do you know
And a
how-
lot of them have. And right now, with what we have on hand, we probably have maybe $12,000 left of these funds.
Do you know how much funds are available?
At the end of June, we had $26,709.51. With the applications I have now, probably approximately $12,000 will be left after we apply to those accounts.
Thank you.
Have you thought about, is there any other way to make, some other announcement or some other way to let the people know? I mean, I know notices go out in the water bill.
Well, we've put notices on the water bills. We've put notices on Facebook. We have put notices in the newspaper. So, we've tried
covered
all of
everything
those
there is.
avenues to try to reach the customers.
Yes.
And we've been making phone calls when we see their bills are extraordinarily high.
Okay.
The unfortunate thing is that these funds cannot be used to cover garbage collection.
Okay.
And that is a big part of what's left on a lot of accounts, even the ones that we have, applied funds to. We still have a lot of outstanding garbage collection fees that have not been paid.
Okay. Well, there's always radio. A lot of people listen.
Door hangers,
We have actually done some of that when we could not reach people by phone. We have put door hangers on their doors. Sometimes they'll call, sometimes they won't.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mayor and Town Council, good evening. The town put out for bid the purchase of fuel this year for all the equipment that we have, and we received one bid back. It was from Parker Oil. They complied. They have 2 sites in town that they can use, and you have before you tonight the price. It went up a little bit compared to last year, but cost of everything's going up. So tonight, I would ask that you would go ahead and adopt this bid so that we could continue with Parker.
Make a motion that we move forward with Parker Oil and receiving the only bids we received, and move forward with them for our fuel services needed for our town.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, council, in front of you have reports to be approved as presented for our previous meeting. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any committee reports, council?
The only thing I'd like to bring as far as the parks are concerned is that the Sarasota Dixie youth teams did extremely well this year with the Ozone team winning the state championship and participated in the Dixie World Series in Mississippi. And the 2 Mecklenburg Dixie boy teams won their states and participated. I think one was in Mississippi and one was in Louisiana. So just to let the community know that a big thank you to all the children who participated, the coaches, the staff, the people who work concessions, and above all, the parents who put in their time and everything with the children. Really appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other committee updates?
We don't. All right, Mr. Mayor, the, policy committee. We met and we have language, we have working on a policy for communications.
Okay.
And, but I thought that it was supposed to be, did we hear back from?
Today, we did, but there wasn't enough time to send it out.
Yeah, so that's why I was hesitating.
So
I had not heard anything else.
It was reviewed today, and Carol will be sending it out in the next couple of days.
So
back to the
we
committee.
wait. Do we wait? Do we wait or do we?
No, we wait. We need to
wait.
send it back to the committee first.
Okay, we wait for final approval.
All right. Okay. Any other committee reports? Mr. Moss, did you have a comment?
No, the policy.
Okay, all right. Okay, under appointments, it is the role of the town council to nominate a representative from the town to serve on the Lake Country Development Corporation Board of Directors. You had in your packet a recommendation of Tim Callis to continue to represent the town on the Board of Directors. His 2-year term would commence on October 1 of 2021 and end September 30th, 2023. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any old business? Any new business? Okay. I would entertain a motion to convene in closed session to discuss the following as permitted by Virginia Code Section 2.2, 3711A, subsection 7, a legal matter involving a real estate tax sale, and A, subset 1, a personnel matter involving the FLSA.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, council, while in closed session, there was no action taken. We only discussed legal and personnel matters. I would entertain a motion to certify this.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Anna, roll call?
Fagan Spoon is absent. Graham,
Yes.
Honeycutt,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Ben Taylor,
Yes.
and Joseph Taylor.
Yes.
Anna, I would ask you to read out the motion.
We have a motion on the legal matter, which they will move to direct the town attorney to advise Mr. Fox and the law firm the request for the refund of surplus funds is denied.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Council, anything else?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, and I wish I had done it while they were here. I just wanted to congratulate the Chamber of Commerce on a great cruise-in Friday night. I'm thinking it was a record crowd for the band. Unfortunately, the car show did get moved until this Saturday at the elementary school. So if any of the council is in town, it'd be great to try to make an appearance. But I know over 600 people paid to go Friday night. I want to say I heard 56 cars for the cruise in. I could be off on that, but I think they deserve extra pat on the back for that. And I know the town guys went over and helped set up the park. Everything looked great, great crowd.
Special thanks to Chief, to Ryan.
Durham.
Durham, yes, who assisted that night, and several ladies from Carolina said that he gratefully escorted them back to their cars as it got dark, so, it was great, it was just a great night.
Anything else, council?
Yes, I just wanted to remind, council that there will be, upcoming, information coming their way. There is something that the policy committee is working on, and they will expect probably to receive email notifications and so forth. In a few days, is that right?
No, I had something else. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, but I'm saying, but I am right.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
And we are watching very carefully the COVID numbers, and we will take appropriate action at the appropriate time. We get an update every day from John Taylor, and currently there are 58 cases in the county, and so the number of cases has climbed a little bit. That hasn't climbed much in the last week or so. Fortunately, the number of deaths is not. So it looks like people are able to handle this and recover from it, and we'll take precautions around here as needed.
Kim, is that the variant cases or regular COVID cases?
We don't know. The
Okay.
information we get just says the number of cases.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah, don't know.
Anything else, council? Meeting adjourned, sir.